Hey guys, it's Corbin Khan here, back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you a deck list of Dark Magician. He got some new support, not recently, but quite a while ago. It's made the deck a lot better, but unfortunately with some of the cards it made other decks kind of broken, which is kind of why, they put a stop to it and banned some of their cards. Spirals. Anyways, onto the deck profile. This deck that I'm about to show you isn't really competitive or meta. It can be. It actually has done well against Shaddoll Invoked cards, or decks, I mean. And it's also done really well against hero decks, surprisingly. And there is one reason why. This deck relies... Well, I wouldn't say it relies heavily on the extra deck with the fusions, but it does help a lot with the fusion cards that I will be showing you today. So let's just jump right into it. So first of all, you're obviously going to be wanting to play your 3 Dark Magicians. You can cut him down to 2 depending on the build that you're playing, but typically you want to play 3 of him. He's pretty essential. He's your main piece for your fusions. He's your main piece for all your spells and traps. That's what I love playing with this deck is you do feel like a spellcaster. Like you're using all these traps and all these spells to help your deck out, to ruin your opponent's lives, by banishment, but yeah, he's pretty essential, and he's also really cool. He's probably been my favorite card since I was younger, so he's the reason why I kind of got into Yu-Gi-Oh. So pretty much I want to say one of your only normal summons, or your most important normal summon, which is your Magician Rod. He practically, when he's normal summoned, you get to add 1 spell or trap that lists Dark Magician in its text. And then if he's in your graveyard during your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap, you contribute 1 spellcaster that you control and add him to your hand, which you do use a lot. He's really good you really want to use that as much as you can, so then you're able to get cards to your hands, or get him into your hands so you're able to get more cards and make more plays. Typically when you get ashed with him, it kind of sucks because you can't really go into anything else. It's all you're really left with. But he is essential at 3. You can't really play him at 2. If you're playing him at 1, you're not playing this deck correctly. So that's how much you would play him as. Now this next card, Apprentice Illusion Magician. You can run her at 2. Right now I'm playtesting with 3, just to see. I only really use her to get Dark Magician to my hand. I've never really used her discard effect. I don't know what kind of duels I've been in lately, but every time they attack, I still somehow am able to use other cards like Super Polymerization or the new fusion spell that I'll be showing you later on today. Instead of her, it's kind of odd. I don't know if I'm just doing something wrong, which I probably am. I'm not the best duelist out there, not really by a long shot. But yeah, typically what she does is you can special summon her by discarding 1 card from your hand, and then whenever she is summoned, special summoned or tribute summoned, you get to add 1 Dark Magician card from your deck to your hand. And then the effect that I was telling you about is the quick effect. You can send this card from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard, and then target 1 Dark Spellcaster monsters that's being attacked, gains 2,000 attack during that damage calculation only. So that's why a lot of people go use her a lot, because she does give you that protection. Let's say if you're, like I was saying earlier, if you were to get stopped with Ash with your rod, she will help protect him. So then you're able to, continue on with him, I guess. Now, probably one of the most expensive cards from this deck. We have 1 Magician Souls because I'm too broke to get 2 more and not lucky to pull any more. I bought a whole box and so much packs just to get him, and I only got 1. He makes the deck really good. He makes the deck go really easily. He gives you that draw power that you need. He lets you become aggressive with Circle, because his effect is that you can reveal 1 level 6 or level 7, send it to the graveyard, and then either special summon this card or send this card to the graveyard and special summon 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard. And then while he's face up on the field, you can send 2 spells or traps from your hand face up on the field to the graveyard to draw that many cards. So if I had 3 of him, I would be running 3 of him, and I'd probably cut her down to 2, just because it's just that great of a card. The next card we play is we play 3 Phantasmes, our Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. He's a lot cheaper now with the duel. I think it was Overload. I got really lucky with the packs that I bought. I got all 3 of them right away. I would say in this format, the only reason why I'm playing him is for Super Volley target or just for the new fusion spell that they got, just so I can make my Dragon Knight easier. He also gives you that draw that you need in case people are playing Links, which with the new MR5 rule that came out pretty recently, I doubt many people are going to be playing Links, because I know Links aren't that much of a favorite, or well, from the people that I know, they don't like Links. But practically what he does is, if your opponent special summons a Link monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters that they control, and then you shuffle cards from your hand into the deck equal to the number of Link monsters they control. You get to draw how many Link monsters they control plus 1. So no matter what, you're always drawing that 1 card, so you get to choose which cards you get to keep and then which cards you can shuffle back in. That's essentially all he's really used for. He's a level 7, which helps you with those level 7 plays, and he's a dark as well, which helps you with Lure in case you have multiples of him. And then he's that dragon type, so you need that dragon for your Dragon Knight. The next card we play, which is, I'm kind of playtesting, and so far I've seen a lot of success. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Ran Ryu. Basically what this card does is, if I control a spellcaster monster, I can special summon him, and you can only control 1 of him. And then if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 monster with 1500 attack and 200 defense in your graveyard, except him, and special summon it, which you practically won't use in this deck because there's no other card that's like that. I just use him for the special summons so I can get like my Link plays in, which I'll show you which Links that I use. And then also because he's a dragon, so you're able to use him for fusion for the Dragon Knight. The other normal summon in this deck, which you might use, might not, Blue Boy or Spell Book of Magician of Prophecy. I only play 1 of him for 1 reason. If you wanted to, you could take out this card and play 2 more or 1 more of him, and then you can play the Spellbook package, which is Spellbook of Secrets and then Spellbook of Knowledge. I only play 1 of them because there's a Link monster that has you target 3 of these from your deck, and your opponent chooses 1. That's pretty much why I do it. I might bump these up to 2 depending on how much better my duels go. I haven't really played enough to know what it's like yet, especially against like decks that I'll see in real life, due to this coronavirus thing. But that's basically what I play for the monster and spellbook kind of package there. So we'll go on to the spells, which this deck is really heavy on spells, which you will see here in a moment. So let's get right into that. So the most important spell in this deck is your Dark Magical Circle. You want to play this at 3 because you want to see it as soon as possible. And then even if you do draw multiples of them, you can always send them to the grave using your Magician's Souls if you have multiples of him instead of just 1 like me. But yeah, what this does is when it's activated, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, which you don't have to show your opponent. I know a lot of people get confused about that effect. You just have to reveal the 1 Dark Magician or 1 spell and trap that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its text. And that does not include Dark Magician Girl, I don't think. I could be wrong. Just comment down there if I am wrong about that, but I've been told that's how it is. And then the best part of this card is whenever a Dark Magician is normal or special summoned, you get to target 1 card your opponent controls and banish it. So that's pretty much your best disruption in this deck. And again, with the Magician's Souls, you're able to play aggressively with this instead of having to wait for your set Internal Souls or your set Navigation, which I'll be showing you here later on in the profile. Yeah, this card is pretty much essential. It kind of brings the deck together, and it can be comboed off with a couple other cards that I'll be showing you here in a little bit. The next card we play, which is what I was talking about comboing off, is 2 Soul Servants. You can play this at 3. I play it at 2 because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's better at 2. I know a lot of people will probably play it at 3 because they want to see it, but you can search this off with your Magician's Rod and also your Dark Magical Circle. And there is one other card in here that I play that allows you to search for it. Pretty much what it does is you can place one card from your deck, place on the top of your deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician or specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, and its text, except for Soul Servant, on the top of your deck. And then during the main phase, you can banish this card and draw however many Dark Magician, Palladium monsters, or Dark Magician Girl that you have in the field. Typically what people get confused is they'll banish this with, let's say that you have 3 Dark Magicians on the field. They'll draw 3 cards. You only get to draw 1 card if you have the 3 Dark Magicians. You have to have one of the others as well. Continuing on, we play 2 Illusion Magic. You can play this at 1. I play it at 2 because I want to see this as much as possible, but 3, I always found myself bricking with 3, so 2 is like the magic number for me. Pretty much what it does is you tribute 1 spellcaster monster, and you get to add up 2 copies of Dark Magician from your deck and or graveyard to your hand. And you can only activate one once per turn. That's how it can be pretty bricky. It's a quick play spell, so you can activate it during your opponent's turn, which then you can combo off with your Rod if you have Rod in the field, tribute it, and add those 2. Because you want to see Dark Magician in your hand as soon as possible, but typically you don't want to draw into him. You want to add him with card effects, or your spell effects, just because you're able to generate those spells into your graveyard for a certain card that I'll be showing you here in the profile. Next card we play is Secret Magic, or Secrets of Dark Magic. This card I really love. I might test play it to see if the ritual part will work in this deck, because I know the Chaos Max Dark Magician guy is really good with the whole tributing 1 monster when he's special summoned. But I only use this for the fusion summoning. So you activate this card to fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl as fusion materials. So you would activate this and use your dragons and your Dark Magician pretty much to play your Dragon Knight, or you can use your Starving Venom fusions, which we also play in this deck. We only play this card at 1 copy, Dark Magic Inheritance, only because you can only activate it once per turn, and it's honestly the only reason why I have it in here is to search for like Circle if I need it, or Illusion Magic, or even the Secrets of Dark Magic. I bricked with it with 2, and I really bricked with it with 3, so I only play it at 1. Another thing that I play at 1 is 1 Eye of Timaeus. Again, it's a once per turn card, so it really sucks when when those cards are like that. But you use this for the 1 copy of Dark Calvary that I play, in case you want to set up a negation, which he does negate. I think it was spells. Let me read real quick. Oh, it's just when a card or effect is activated that targets a card in the field. You can discard 1 card and negate its effect. So that's a really good effect, especially to protect your trap Eternal Soul, which, you know, if that ever leaves the field face up, it pretty much destroys all monsters you control. I only play 1 for that reason. The next card that we play is we play 3 Super Polys. And the reason why we play 3 Super Polys is because all of the Dark Magician monsters don't have specific cards, except for Dark Magician himself. They have, like, Dragon Knight is 1 dragon, which everyone is always playing 1 dragon. Or for hero decks, Dark Calvary takes 1 warrior, or your Starving Venom fusion dragons take 2 dark monsters, which you play yourself, and then a lot of cards are played with dark monsters. I'm sorry. So it's a good disruption, and it can't be responded. So I'm surprised they kept this at 3 with the last ban list. I'm pretty sure they're gonna semi-limit it or even limit it soon with this whole new MR5. So we'll see, though. We'll see. And then for the next spell that we play is we play 3 Allure, just so we can dig deeper into our deck, so we can get like the cards that we need, like our trap cards, our circles. You want to only activate this when you are for sure have a dark monster in your hand, and only if you don't need that dark monster. There have been times where I and someone I know have activated this card with like one rod in our hand and we haven't normal summoned yet. And we draw some decent cards, but we can't use them, and we have to banish that rod. And it really screws you over, and you're pretty much stuck at a standstill, to where if you would have just normal summoned rod, got your circle, you would have probably been better off at a better start. The last spells that we play in this deck is 2 Secret Village of Spellcasters. Great card. If you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent can't activate spells unless they also control a spellcaster. You don't want to run this at 3 just because you brick with it at 3. I found myself drawing this all the time, back to back. I don't know why. I just have either really good luck or bad luck, however you see it. I think it's a really good, I think it's what they call floodgates, just to stop your opponent from using spells, because a lot of decks are really reliant on spells. So it's really great to have this. You usually don't want to run Terraforming or Metaverse because that just takes up too much space in your deck, especially since this deck is so heavy on spells and traps and monsters, just to keep it, going how it is. So that's pretty much what we play for the spells. So we're going to move on to the traps, which we only really play, I think it was 4 traps, surprisingly, and it's worked really well. But yeah, typically we'll start off with the 2 Magician Navigations we play with. Really good way to flood the field with monsters, especially if you don't activate it during your opponent's turn, but during your turn to, get your Dark Magician out, or Apprentice Illusion to add to your hand, or to add Dark Magician to your hand. Typically, though, if you had to choose this or Eternal Soul to add to your hand, usually you want to go with Eternal Soul just so you can get that protection and the constant special summoning of Dark Magician, because this is only a one-time effect. It does have a second effect that I even completely forget sometimes. If it's in your graveyard and you control a Dark Magician monster, if your opponent was to activate a spell or a trap card that's face up on the field, so even a spell card that's like Monster Reborn, Mystical Space Typhoon, just anything that's currently face up on the field, you can banish this card and negate that face up card. So it's kind of like the Archfiend Abyss Dragon, I think is what it's called, which used to be comboed off with Agropane, Guard Dragon Agropane. So it's really good with that. The reason why I run it at 2 is so that the deck can stay as close to 40 as possible, so we can see all the cards as much as possible. Because he can be searched off of many cards. Like I said, you typically want to go over Eternal Soul than what you would want over him. Which Eternal Soul, which we play 2 of. Again, we only play 2 because 3 is just kind of too much. You'll brick with it a lot. I've had times where I've drawn all 3 of them, 3 games in a row. And that was for 4 matches as well. So really bad luck with that. I don't know what happened. Really good card. So what you can do with it is you pretty much activate it to special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard. And then your Dark Magician cards in your monster zone are unaffected by your opponent's cards effects. So even Super Polymerization cannot affect your Dark Magician cards. Your opponent can't Super Poly away your Dragon Knight or your Dark Magician monster. Or just Dark Magician himself. You can't. Monsters are still affected. Which I honestly feel like is really handy, because you don't have to really worry about your field being taken away by Super Poly, like most people do with their darks for Starving Venom Fusion. But anyways, that's what I play in the main deck. We'll move on to the extra deck. So right off the bat, we're going to be playing 2 of your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. Great card. He protects your back row, protects your spells and traps from being destroyed by your opponent, and even targeting. So your opponent can't target them, and they can't destroy them. Which is really nice, because if they were to do the whole IP Masquerena combo with Nightmare Phoenix, they couldn't even Nightmare Phoenix your Eternal Soul, which would, destroy your whole field. The other great thing, too, is he's a dragon type, so if you were to have him with Dark Magician on the field, you can fusion them away for another one, which is why I run 2. Just because he's a 3,000 beef stick, big old slap in the face. Not many cards usually get over him. So yeah, that's why I run him at 2. And plus, he's a really cool card, honestly. I really like the design that they put for him. But anyways, continuing on, I play 1 Dark Calvary. I will, if they ever do decide to release him, I will replace him with Dragoon of Red Eyes, just because that card is so broken. It's going to change the meta if it ever is released to the TCG. And then if that is the case, I will probably switch out a card for Anaconda, which I do have, but I don't have it in this deck just because I never really saw myself using him in this deck. I don't know why, but it's just because I don't really have a reason to use him, I guess, in this deck. But, you know, I still have to playtest. Whoops. Still have to playtest with him, so we'll see. Play 2 Starving Venom Dragons just because you play with a lot of dark monsters. Actually, I think all your monsters are dark except for maybe 2 or 3 of them. And then, you know, he's great for using monsters your opponent controls with the Super Poly since we do main it. Just a great card, and again, he's a dragon, so you can use him for your fusion summons for your Dragon Knight over here. Very strong monster. We play 1 Crawley, the First Profiteer. I hope I said that right. I'm not sure if I did or not. This is why I run the Spellbook package at 1, because when he's Link Summoned, you can reveal 3 Spellbook cards with different names from your deck, and then your opponent randomly picks 1, and you add that to your hand. So he's a good way to get either, let's say if you haven't normal summoned and you get the monster, the blue boy, normal summon him, get your Spellbook of Secrets, and then get your Spellbook of Knowledge, activate Knowledge, tribute blue boy, get those 2 cards, you know, free draws. And then the reason why I used to play him when the Link format was still around just because of his 2 arrows, but now I just play him for his effect and then also for Link climbing, I guess. Anyways, the next card that I play, IP Masquerena. You will play her most definitely in every deck. She's just a really good card to disrupt your opponent, especially with the combo with Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Unicorn, sorry, I was looking at Phoenix. And she's also really good with setting up with other links, especially with that effect where she can protect. Because during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect Link. Immediately after this effect resolves, Link summon 1 Link monster using the materials you control, including this card. You can only use the effect once per turn, but that Link monster is protected by your opponent's card effect, so it cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is really nice. And then the next card we play, basic Nightmare Phoenix. Good way to pop back row in case you need to. Mirror matches, you know, you use this to blow up their Eternal Soul, you know, win the duel that way. Nightmare Unicorn, again, just basic staple in decks. You combo it off with IP, you know, shuffle a card that they control, pretty basic. Boral Sword, in case I need that power just to OTK someone. I've only really played him like once or twice. I typically find myself going into Borreload more than I do with him, just because I really like stealing my monsters, or my opponent's monsters in this deck. Which, you know, Borreload's right here. You know, he takes away a monster, but it gets destroyed during the end phase of the next turn. And then we have Apollousa. I love having her in the extra deck just because it's nice knowing that she's there, but I have not once been able to summon her off without her being destroyed by a card effect. She's a really good card. I said in another video that I'm surprised that they haven't banned her yet. I feel like she will get banned in the near future just because, you know, 4 negates is kind of crazy. Granted, you can't use those 4 negates in the same chain link, but like, when are you going to use them in the same chain link? You know, like, you're typically using that effect in different chains. Moving on to XYZs, that's all we do for links. We have 1 Ebon Illusion Magician. He's a really good way to banish monsters. So, like, pretty much what he does is he detaches 1 XYZ material to special summon a Dark Magician from your hand or deck, which is really nice to get 2 25 beaters off of the on the field for 5,000k damage. And then if a normal monster attacks, you get to banish 1 card your opponent controls. So typically what I'll do is I'll attack with Dark Magician first, use his effect to banish the monster that my opponent has, and then you'll have a reset where you're able to attack, but this time you can attack directly instead of attacking into a monster, dealing more damage. And then, you know, him himself attacking for 25. I know in this deck you can run the Dark Magician Girl little set, and if you do that, you'll have a card named Naruto, which you can use that for this because he can be XYZ summoned using a rank 6 spellcaster XYZ monster. So that's I could probably make another deck profile about that, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the Dark Magician Girl support. I just think she's way too slow. That's why I don't play her in this deck, which kind of surprises a lot of people because, you know, the Dark Magic attack, I think it's what's called, our Dark Burning Magic attack, which destroys and gets rid of your entire opponent's field. It's way too slow for me. I don't know, just because she's really bricky at the same time. The next XYZ we play, though, is Red Eyes Flare Metal. I use him a lot. A lot of people don't, but I do. What I'll do is if my opponent survives a Boral Sword attack, I'll just go in and link with him. And pretty much if they were to activate an effect or do anything, they automatically lose that 500 points. Like, they can't really do much with that, you know, because they're under that strand of, oh, I'm probably going to lose life points. And then also, too, again, if Dragoon of Red Eyes comes out, you'll be able to use his effect finally in Dark Magician decks to special summon Red Eyes Black Dragon, sorry. Which, you know, if that does happen, that'll be pretty sweet, because I do like Red Eyes Black Dragon. So, and then the last card that I play is number 11, you know, pretty basic, rank 7. You know, steals a monster your opponent controls. And he's also spellcaster, so works with this deck. So yeah, that's pretty much the extra deck right now. It will change up in the near future, which I will update you guys when and how it is. Next to the side deck, and it's a different sleeve color, and that's just because for the quality of the video, the side deck cards or sleeves that I had were really ruined recently because of a certain cat that I own. But yeah, we'll get into the side deck. So they're pretty basic. I use this side deck a lot with many decks. Nibiru, Primal Being, pretty basic. You know, if your opponent has a spam heavy deck, you just use him, clear their board, you know, wreck them. You know, he's not that expensive, I don't think, anymore. I think he was $10 last time I checked. But you know, it's not bad, not too bad. Especially you can easily trade him for like bulk of Yu-Gi-Oh cards if you do have that. The next thing we play is 3 Ash. I really want to main deck her just because she's just your basic hand trap, but I just have I just have trouble fitting her in the deck without bricking with her. I've had plenty of times where I've drawn 2 of her and I don't ever use her, just because I can do so much more with this deck. So I just side deck her just in case if there is a deck that I know I can use her to, you know, screw up their plays. The next card I play in this deck is 3 Called by the Graves, just because if I know they have Ash Blossom in the deck, which I know a lot of decks don't play Ash Blossom, but again, some decks do, and then also other just hand traps in general, I can just throw this in just to protect my Rod. You know, it's pretty basic spell. Usually this is what people side deck the most, which I really do recommend side decking, just because it's just a good card all around. Next card we play is 2 Dark Ruler No More. I will try to get a 3rd one just because this card is really good, especially with slower playing decks like Dark Magician. Just because you're able to set up if you're going second, you can set up as if you're going first with this card, and then just, you know, pick off your opponent's field one by one. Granted that you can, your opponent can't take any battle damage, which, you know, that's fine. You're just setting up as if you're playing first anyways, so... the next thing I have is just basic staples, Twin Twister, and then 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Pretty basic, you know, back roll removal in case I mirror match with Dark Magician, which I have done a lot. And these come in really handy, getting rid of the Eternal Soul. Yeah, pretty much. So that's pretty much my deck. That's the deck profile. So, you know, if you really like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment and, you know, share with people other deck ideas with this deck, because there's so many ways you can play with the Dark Magician. I used to run Endymion Dark Magician when Servant was at 3, but since she's at 1, it's really hard to search her with the deck. It was a really good deck, though. I did really well with that deck. I kind of miss it. Another deck variant that I used to play is Odd Eyes Dark Magician, just because of the Pendulum summoning. You can be really aggressive with Circle. The deck is super casual, though, but like I said, just comment, you know, don't forget to subscribe if you want, and then just like the video, and have a nice day. Stay safe. So I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.